The first oil change. It's something that every new car owner has to face. For my 2025 RAV4 Hybrid, I got it changed at 5,400 kilometers. Why did I choose that precise time? Well, it's because it was convenient. Before I got my oil changed, the first thing I did was to research when to get your first oil change. And on the internet, the general consensus is 1,000 miles or 1,500 kilometers. But then when you look into the manual, it doesn't actually say anything about the first oil change. So it makes you think that getting the first oil change at 10,000 miles isn't that big of an issue. But the reason why you want to get that first oil change done earlier is so that you can remove contaminants from the oil. You see, during manufacturing, the car goes through all sorts of machining, and with that comes a lot of oils. When the car is assembled and engine oil is circulating through the engine oil picks up on some of those machining oils, and so it gets contaminated, and also various bits of metal shavings get picked up as well. Over time, as the engine breaks in and after several oil changes, this becomes less of an issue. Now for me, I got my oil change done at the shop, and so I wasn't able to film the actual oil change process itself, but I was able to ask for the oil filter that came out of the car. And this is the oil filter that I got. It's a lot more oily on the outside than what it normally is, but that's because I put it in a bag and it just tumbled around in it. And here's what it looks like once I saw off the top of the oil filter. As you can see, there's a paper filter that's used to trap all the metal shavings in. The dirty oil comes in from the outside, and the filter oil goes through on the inside. As I open up some of these fins, you can see some of the metal shavings and some specks and debris get trapped in the filter. Now this is actually a good thing because it shows that the oil filter is doing a good job filtering. The reason I'm showing you this is so that you can have an idea of what gets trapped in the filter. It's easy to blow out of proportion and think that several thousand pieces of metal filings will clog up the filter and end up in your engine. But in reality, there's very little bits of metal shavings, and the engine filter itself does a pretty good job at keeping the engine oil clean. Even after 5 months, the engine filter isn't clogged with metal shavings. So don't get caught up in the scare tactics of having to change your engine oil too early. Personally, to keep things easy, going forward, I'm just going to be changing it once every 6 months or 5,000 miles, whichever comes first. And this is because the oil does degrade over time. Some of the additives gets burned off as the oil gets circulated through the engine, and gasoline and moisture will collect in the oil. The key here is not to ignore your oil change for several years at a time, because eventually that oil will turn into sludge and ruin your engine. Let me know when you got your first oil change and how it's working out for you. That's it from me. Thanks for watching.